Alright guys, what's up? Today's build, we've got the Disciple of the Deep. It's a void-based hunter subclass, and we're going to get right into it. Starting off with your aspects, Stylist Executioner. Defeating a weakened, suppressed, or volatile target grants invisibility and true sight. To be quite honest, you're not going to be taking advantage of this that often. It's primarily because we want those extra fragment slots to elevate this build a little bit higher. Vanishing Step, dodging makes you invisible, pretty self-explanatory, always a good option, and again, we're wanting those extra fragment slots to continue this build even better than it can be. Your grenade, you're going to be running Vortex Grenade. It's just such a powerful grenade, and it makes it really easy to take out multiple adds and take advantage of elemental ordnance, which we will be getting into mods in just a second here. Snare Bomb, there's nothing else. Jump can be whatever you want, and so can your dodge, but I prefer to have Gambler's Dodge because I did not prioritize melee energy in this build whatsoever, because you really only want primarily your discipline and your recovery extremely high. Everything else is essentially bypassed by this build. Your super, you're going to be running Shadow Shot, Mobius Quiver, because that damage is just ridiculous, and everything in this build is going to take that so high that, in my opinion, can easily rival, if not beat out, a Thunder Crashing Titan with Fallen Cuirass. And that's coming from a Titan main who will never admit, but to be honest, this probably does do more damage. I haven't fully tested that, but from what I've seen, it definitely does. And you get it really easy. So, your fragments. Echo of Persistence. Void buffs applied to you have increased duration. I feel like it's just a no-brainer, especially since this is going to be a Devour-based build. Next one is Echo of Remnants. Your lingering grenade effects, including Vortex Grenade, will have an increased duration, making sure you're securing that kill with your Vortex Grenade for Elemental Ordnance. I will show you in just a second. And then this is the crucial fragment, Echo of Starvation. Picking up a Orb of Power grants Devour. That is going to be the jumping off point for basically everything we do. And then Echo of Expulsion. Void ability Final Blows causes targets to explode. The intellect bumped, to be honest, in this build does not really matter, but it's cool. And the explosion is just a nice little finish adding touch so that you can make it easier to kill multiple targets and continue to proc Devour higher and higher. Weapons. There wasn't really a standout choice I had for your primary, but I decided to go with Fortissimo with Subsistence and Osmosis, primarily because Osmosis will give us that void damage type whenever we get a grenade kill if we decide to use our shotgun, and we will be able to take advantage of Font of Might, which I will show in a minute. And also, I believe that that will also work with Harmonic Siphon. But this is your main workhorse weapon, Funnel Web with Subsistence and Frenzy. I 1000% recommend this specific role of Frenzy and Subsistence, because Subsistence will make sure that you don't have to reload very often, so you can keep getting those kills to extend the Devour timer and keep it up high. And Frenzy, well, of course, it's just going to ramp up your damage and make it even easier to get those kills to continue Devour. So, and then for the exotic weapon I chose Deathbringer, just because it's very good damage. It's void damage type, and Font of Might will be part of this build, ramping that up. And it will also be taking advantage of Ardent Ordnance, so that you're going to get a even higher damage from a already well-performing exotic. So, starting off with your mods, we've got our helmet. run Solar Elemental Affinity for the ability to run Ashes to assets, but your combat mod will be Taking Charge, becoming Charged with Light, picking up a Orb of Power. Since you're going to be generating a lot of Orbs of Power with Harmonic Siphon and Funnel Web, you're almost always going to be able to be Charged with Light, and whenever you become Charged with Light, you're also proccing Devour. So, I mean, how can that be bad? Going on to your gauntlets, you're going to be running a Stasis Elemental Affinity for double grenade kickstart, and your combat mod will be Font of Might. I know I currently don't have double kickstart on. That's just because I unfortunately ran out of upgrade materials, and I just haven't bought any more because I haven't. So, going on to the chest piece, you're going to be running Elemental Ordnance so that those Vortex grenades, you're going to be spawning a Void Elemental Well for Font of Might and Font of Wisdom, which I will explain in just a second. But you're going to be able to always be proccing those because you're going to have Devour up, so you're going to get grenade back very easily, and you're going to want to have that high discipline, so grenades are just going to be thrown out as much as you want, basically. And then I decided to run a Void Elemental Affinity so that I would have Void Resistance and Arc and Solar, so that I have all three of those bases covered for resistance damage. Star Eater Scales is something I feel like was just perfect for a Devour-based build. I mean, it just makes sense. You're picking up Orbs of Power to, one, get your super. You're getting additional super energy from picking up Orbs of Power while wearing this exotic, proccing Devour, and then, on top of that, once your super energy is full, picking up an Orb of Power will overcharge, bumping up your super damage for Mobius Quiver, which is already insane. And whenever you are at max, I think it's 7 or 8 stacks, you also are going to be getting a burst of healing when you cast your super, like ridiculous bonus damage, and also you're going to be getting an overshield while doing so. Oh, I forgot to go over the mods real quick. So, Font of Wisdom. Whenever you're picking up those Void Wells from your grenade kills, you're going to be getting that Font of Might, so Funnel Web's going to be doing more damage, Deathbringer's going to be able to do more damage, but you're also going to be maxing out your intellect stat. This is why I said your intellect doesn't really matter in this build, because Font of Wisdom, what it does is maxes out your intellect, so you don't have to worry about that for 30 seconds, and you're basically always going to have a grenade, so you always have Font of Wisdom running. And for the Elemental Affinity, you're going to run Stasis for Orbs of Restoration. Picking up a Orb of Power grants a small amount of energy to the ability with the least energy. Probably going to be your melee, but depending on what's going on, your combat situation, this is just a nice way to get that extra boost to grenade melee or your dodge ability. And I just decided to double stack it because it was easy. Finally, this is a really nice part, taking that damage from Mobius Quiver to the absolute stars, is Devouring Depths. Casting your Void Super while you are critically wounded or benefiting from Devour increases the damage you deal with that super. So, since you're always going to be trying to run Devour, keep it up, picking up those orbs, getting kills, you're likely always going to be able to take advantage of this, and then put this on top of Star Eater Scales enhanced damage. It's insane the amount of damage you can do with this. But Solar Elemental Affinity for your Cloak and Ardent Ordnance, as I mentioned earlier, is going to increase the damage you deal with Deathbringer. And if you manage to pick up a well right before that, well, you got Font of Wisdom on top of Ardent Ordnance from picking up your Orb of Power and becoming Charged with Light. And then finally, Bomber on the off chance that you don't have your grenade because you just haven't gotten enough kills, or Devour hasn't procced quite yet, or you're just in a difficult situation. Dodge, get a good chunk of your grenade energy back, and you can just keep on going. And right before I get to the gameplay, just in case anyone is curious, this is the aesthetic I decided to go for. It gave me a very like monstrous from the deep kind of maybe a Shadow of Yore look. But I went with Mechalodec. I don't even know how to say that word. Bungie, what are you doing? But mechanized bramble. And then for the helmet, I chose the opulent stalker from, I believe it was Season of the Chosen. The steeplechase grasp from Season of the Hunt. The scorned Baron vest, I believe that was a armor piece that you can get almost anywhere, but it came in Forsaken. I don't have an ornament for Star Eater scales because I thought that this just looked way too fitting. And then finally, steeplechase for the cloak. So, just a real quick demonstration for anyone that is interested. Just throw your grenade. There's your Void Elemental Well. Got that damage boost. Got the Overpower. There's Devour. And keeping it up. Super easy to keep Devour up with Font of Might. Funnel Web's just such a strong weapon. And you're getting those Orbs of Power on every multi-kill. Super easy to keep going. Alright, just times 3. One-shot it, but there you go. So that is your Disciple of the Deep Void Hunter build. I hope you enjoy. Comment, like, subscribe, any questions you might have, and I will catch you in the next one.